So I want to know, okay, why?
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 Why did you guys hurt your
I
mom?
would never hurt my mom.
Okay, sweetheart, like, you
She
really
felt
want to
like
make yourself
if
you're
you
gonna
killed the mom, then that's the only way she could be
I
with you.
truly didn't believe that nobody would believe me if I told anyone.
What happened with your mom that night?
I don't know what happened with my mom at all.
Okay, you just listen to me, okay, sweetheart?
In our darkest hour.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard grew up with her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, making claims about her health that resulted in a series of dire diagnoses and medical interventions. However, Gypsy wasn't actually unwell. Her mother had been lying about her symptoms. Experts believe Dee Dee's behavior stemmed from the mental disorder Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Because Dee Dee wanted to be a caretaker, she feigned and induced illness in her daughter. The truth about Gypsy and her mother only came out after Gypsy arranged for an online boyfriend to murder Dee Dee in 2015. Gypsy Rose, who was born in 1991, was a baby when Dee Dee claimed her daughter had sleep apnea. When Gypsy was 8 years old, Dee Dee described her as suffering from leukemia and muscular dystrophy and said she required a wheelchair and feeding tube. The list of medical problems that Dee Dee related about her daughter would go on to include seizures, asthma, and hearing and visual impairments. Due to Dee Dee's actions, Gypsy was prescribed a litany of medications and had to sleep using a breathing machine. She also went through multiple surgeries, including procedures on her eyes and removal of her salivary glands. When Gypsy's teeth rotted, perhaps due to her medications, missing salivary glands, or neglect, they were pulled out. Yet the truth was that Gypsy could walk, didn't need a feeding tube, and didn't have cancer. Her head was bald only because her mother shaved off her hair. Experts believe Dee Dee had a mental illness known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy, also called factitious disorder imposed on another, which made her fabricate her daughter's ill health in order to receive attention and sympathy for taking care of a sick child. Medical tests often showed inconclusive or contradictory results regarding Gypsy's diagnoses, but Dee Dee would stop seeing any doctors who questioned her daughter's ailments, and many caregivers went along with what Dee Dee wanted. She'd had some nurses' training, so she could accurately describe symptoms, and she sometimes gave Gypsy medication to mimic certain conditions. Dee Dee was also charming and seemed devoted to her daughter. When Gypsy was old enough to talk, Dee Dee instructed her not to volunteer information during their appointments. She was always the one relating Gypsy's fake medical history. When some of Dee Dee's family noticed that Gypsy didn't seem to need a wheelchair and asked questions, Dee Dee and Gypsy moved away. Dee Dee claimed to be a victim of Hurricane Katrina, so she and Gypsy received assistance to relocate from Louisiana to Missouri in 2005. There, Dee Dee continued to bring Gypsy to doctor's appointments. Hurricane Katrina also provided an excuse for missing medical files. In 2008, Gypsy and Dee Dee moved into a new home in Springfield, Missouri. Built by Habitat for Humanity, it was painted pink and had a wheelchair ramp. Gypsy and Dee Dee also received benefits that included charity-sponsored visits to concerts and Disney World. All along, Dee Dee continued to bask in the attention she received for being a devoted caretaker. As Gypsy grew older, Dee Dee began to lie about her age, going so far as to alter the dates on Gypsy's birth certificate to make her daughter seem younger. But Gypsy was still becoming harder for Dee Dee to control. In 2011, Gypsy tried to get away from her mother by running away with a man she'd met at a science fiction convention. But Dee Dee soon tracked them down via mutual friends. She convinced the man that Gypsy was a minor, though she was actually 19 at the time. According to Gypsy, Dee Dee smashed her computer and physically restrained her to her bed after they returned home. Gypsy has also stated her mother would sometimes hit her and deny her food. One night as Dee Dee slept, Gypsy managed to get back online. She reached for the hidden phone she'd managed to sneak from a visiting charity worker and decided to join a Christian dating site. In the flickering screen, a pixelated world pulsed with possibilities. On the screen, a username glowed. Nick Bladegamer, Nicholas Godejohn, Gypsy's online confidant, was everything her life wasn't: adventurous, bold, free. Their whispers in the digital darkness were a rebellion against the suffocating fabric of her imprisonment. He saw Gypsy, not the phantom wheelchair Dee Dee had constructed. Gypsy's online world blossomed. Nick became her anchor, his pixelated affection a balm to her loneliness. Their chats evolved into late-night video calls, where he saw the raw truth, the phantom pain in her eyes, the suppressed fury in her clenched fists. One call, under the flickering moonlight, changed everything. Gypsy, driven by a desperate longing for normalcy, confessed her suspicions. Dee Dee wasn't just overprotective, she was controlling. The illnesses, the surgeries, the wheelchair, all fabricated. Nick, stunned but unwavering, urged her to seek help, but escape was easier said than done. Dee Dee, a master manipulator, wielded fear and guilt like weapons. She'd forged medical records, lied to doctors, spun a web of deceit so intricate that everyone, from neighbors to charities, believed Gypsy was a fragile butterfly trapped in a glass case. The frustration simmered into anger, then desperation. Nick, sensing her despair, hatched a risky plan. Then, on a sweltering June night in 2015, Nicholas drove from Iowa to Graysville, fueled by a twisted sense of chivalry and the promise of rescuing Gypsy. In the dark living room, he confronted Dee Dee, the knife in his hand glinting under the moonlight. Gypsy, hidden in the closet, held her breath, the sound of her mother's scream echoing through the house. When the silence returned, Gypsy emerged to find Nicholas gone and Dee Dee lying lifeless on the floor. The phantom wheelchair, finally cast aside, lay overturned like a discarded doll. Panic and relief warred within her. Freedom, bought at a horrifying cost, awaited. Gypsy and Nick returned to his home in Wisconsin, where they were found by police. Gypsy had twice posted to the Facebook account she shared with her mother, once writing, "That bitch is dead." She later explained she made the posts because she wanted her mother's body to be discovered. After confessing that she convinced Nick of her master plan to murder her mother, Gypsy Rose pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. She was then sentenced to 10 years of prison, even after her attorney revealed the decades-long abuse she endured. After Gypsy Rose took a plea deal for her involvement in Dee Dee's killing, Nick's trial began in 2018. Gypsy Rose admitted that she took the lead role in the plan to murder her mother. Nick's lawyers claimed that Nick was victimized and manipulated into committing murderous acts and suggested that his sentence should be reduced. His legal team also cited that Nick allegedly suffered from multiple personality disorder after his arrest for masturbation in a McDonald's restaurant while carrying a concealed weapon in 2013. The judge sentenced Nick to life in prison without parole, in addition to 25 years for armed criminal action.